Welcome to An Interview in History, where imagination meets reality. In this episode, we bring you an imaginary interview, but with real people and real facts. While the conversation you're about to hear is a creative reimagining, every detail, every event, and every quote is grounded in truth. It's a different way to explore real stories, and we can't wait for you to experience it. This week on An Interview in History, we're talking with George Kelly Barnes, also known as Machine Gun Kelly. He was a gangster from Memphis, Tennessee, active during the Prohibition era. His nickname came from his favorite weapon, a Thompson submachine gun. He's best known for the kidnapping of oil tycoon and businessman Charles F. Urschel in July of 1933, from which he and his gang collected a $200,000 ransom, equivalent to $4.89 million in 2025. Urschel had collected and left considerable evidence that assisted the subsequent FBI investigation, which eventually led to Kelly's arrest in Memphis on September 26, 1933. His crimes also included bootlegging and armed robbery. This interview takes place in the United States prison Leavenworth on May 24, 1953. Mr. Kelly, or may I call you George? Can you tell us about your childhood? Where did it all begin?
George is good. Well, I was born George Kelly Barnes in Memphis, Tennessee, back in 1895. My folks were decent people. My pa worked hard, and my ma kept the house in line. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich. But we weren't anything special, neither. I had a couple of siblings, a brother and a sister. We got by like most Southern families did back then.
So were you a troublemaker as a child?
Not really. I went to Central High School in Memphis. I was quiet, even got decent grades, but I always had a wild streak. Liked the thrill, the rush. I hung around some shady boys, and we got into scrapes here and there. But nothing serious. Not yet.
Did you go to college?
I did. Spent some time at Mississippi State University. Studied agriculture, believe it or not. I even played football. But I wasn't built for books. Dropped out and started drifting. That's when things started to change. From the beginning, I was considered a poor student with my highest grade a C+, awarded for good physical hygiene. I was constantly in trouble with the faculty and spent much of my academic career attempting to work off demerits I had earned. It was during this time that I met a young woman by the name of Geneva Mimi Ramsey. I quickly fell in love with Geneva and made an abrupt decision to quit school and marry. I married her when I was 19. We had 2 sons together, George and Robert, before divorcing. But I never saw them again after the divorce. Geneva told the New York Times after my arrest that she divorced me because I was running in bad company.
So when did crime become part of your life?
After college, I started bootlegging during the Prohibition. Easy money. I worked for myself as well as a colleague. I ran liquor up and down the South. That led to smuggling, then bank jobs. The real turning point came after I served some time for bootlegging. That's when I met some real criminals inside and learned the ropes. After a short time and several run-ins with the local Memphis police, I decided to leave town and head west with my girlfriend to protect my family and to escape law enforcement officers. I changed my name to George R. Kelly. I continued to commit smaller crimes and bootlegging. I was arrested in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1928 for smuggling liquor into a Native American reservation and sentenced to 3 years at Leavenworth Penitentiary, Kansas, beginning February 11, 1928. Luckily, I was a model inmate and was released early. Shortly thereafter, I married Catherine Thorne and an experienced criminal who purchased my first machine gun and insisted, despite my lack of interest in weapons, that I perform target practice in the countryside. She also went to great lengths to familiarize my name within underground crime circles. You became notorious for using a Thompson submachine gun, right? Yeah, that gun became part of my name. Truth is, my wife, Catherine Kelly, helped build my image. She'd hand out press clippings, told folks I was dangerous, made me larger than life. It was smart in a twisted way, gave us power. Tell us about Catherine. What was your relationship like? Catherine was something else. A bootlegger's daughter, sharp as a blade. We married in the late 1920s. She had a son from a previous marriage, and I treated him like my own. She was the brains behind a lot of our operations. Pushed me into kidnapping for ransom. She wanted a big score. Which now brings us to the kidnapping of Charles Urschel, right? Yeah, 1933. We snatched Urschel, who was a wealthy oil man, from his home in Oklahoma City, held him on a ranch in Texas. He was blindfolded, but smart, remembered everything, sounds, smells, and how long we drove. After we let him go for a $200,000 ransom, the feds used his clues to track us down. That kidnapping made you public enemy number one. Sure did. FBI agents caught us in Memphis. There's that story that they love. Me yelling, "Don't shoot, G-men," gave the FBI their nickname. Truth is, I was caught off guard. Never even reached for my gun. Then what happened after your arrest? That trial was fast. Me and Catherine both got life sentences. I was sent to Leavenworth and later on to Alcatraz. Spent over 20 years behind bars. Did carpentry, kept quiet, read a lot. I wasn't the same man anymore. Did you have contact with your family after prison? Some letters here and there. Catherine and I grew apart naturally. Most of the people I ran with either were dead or locked up. That world moved on without me. So what have these later years been like for you? I was moved back to Leavenworth in the late 50s. My health has been failing, heart problems. But I'm just an old man with a bad ticker. If you could go back, would you do things differently? Maybe. But when you're in that life, it grabs you hard. It makes you feel invincible. I was a fool, but I made my mark, for better or worse. George Machine Gun Kelly, you are one interesting character. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Hey, you're welcome. Besides, what else am I going to do locked up here? It's a nice change. George Machine Gun Kelly, bank robber, bootlegger, and unlikely media icon. He lived fast, but his legend outlived him. He spent his remaining 21 years in prison. During his time at Alcatraz, he got the nickname Pop Gun Kelly, according to fellow inmate Dale Stampill. The nickname originated because he told big fish stories. The cons called him Pop Gun Kelly after court guns that were popular with kids. The guys didn't take him seriously. This may have stemmed from the fact that, in addition to his exaggerated tall tales, Kelly was a model prisoner and did not act like the brutal gangster his wife, the media, and FBI made him out to be. He spent 17 years on Alcatraz as inmate number 117, working in the prison industries, continuing to boast and exaggerate his past escapades to other inmates, and was quietly transferred back to Leavenworth in 1951. He died of a heart attack at Leavenworth on July 17, 1954, the day before his 60th birthday, and was buried at Cottondale, Texas Cemetery in Catherine Kelly's stepfather's family plot, with a small headstone marked George B. Kelly,
1954. Catherine Kelly was released from prison in 1958 and lived in relative anonymity in Oklahoma under the assumed name Lara Cleo Kelly until her death in 1895 at the age of 81. Kelly died forgotten, but not unknown. And now, another forgotten history. What a badass woman! In the pre-dawn haze of May 1944, 23-year-old Phyllis Latour leapt from a U.S. Air Force bomber, her heart pounding as she plummeted toward Nazi-occupied Normandy. With the wind roaring in her ears, she landed in enemy territory, swiftly burying her parachute and shedding her jump gear to transform into a poor French teenager. Her mission was as audacious as it was perilous. Gather critical intelligence on German positions to pave the way for D-Day. For 4 months, she'd live a lie, weaving through a landscape crawling with danger, driven by a burning desire to avenge her godfather's death at Nazi hands. Every step she took was a dance with death, her survival hinging on wit, courage, and an uncanny ability to vanish into plain sight. Trained by a British Special Operations executive, Phyllis was no ordinary spy. In the rugged Scottish Highlands, she mastered Morse code, radio repair, and the art of silent movement, mentored by a former cat burglar who taught her to scale walls like a shadow. Posing as a soap-selling country girl, she pedaled her bicycle through Normandy's villages, her innocent chatter disarming German soldiers while she memorized their positions. By night, she slept in forests, foraging for food, her only companions the stars and the ever-present threat of capture. Her secret codes, scribbled on silk and hidden in a hair tie, were her lifeline. 135 messages sent to the Allies, each one a dagger aimed at the Nazi war machine. Once, when the Germans detained her, she unpinned her hair tie, letting her locks cascade to prove her innocence, her cool-headedness saving her from certain death. After the war, Phyllis slipped quietly into a new life in New Zealand, raising 4 children who remained oblivious to her heroism until 2000, when her son stumbled upon her story online. In 2014, France crowned her a Chevalier of the Legion of Honor, celebrating her role in turning the tide of war. Now, 101, Phyllis lives on, a quiet legend in a world that nearly forgot her. Her story is a testament to the unseen warriors who shaped history, but not with fanfare, but with grit, guile, and an unyielding will to fight for what's right. Join us next week when we talk with John Edgar Hoover, who was the first director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Until then, take care